Hey everyone, I'm Alex Reneman and I'm here with Dan Paul. We're here at Concordance Healthcare Solutions, one of our longtime customers, to talk about their operation and specifically about these guys. We walk through operationally some of the things they were considering, as well as how things are going today, and really all for the benefit of you, someone who might be out there. You hear the news, you see the stories, it's exciting, but how does this work in your warehouse? How does this work in your operation? Is it going to give you the benefit? And this team really pays attention to their operation. They understand their metrics, they understand their goals, they're driven, and I think it gives a real good perspective for you to say, can this work in my operation?
And they're one of the few companies who not only adopted the robotics, but also have voice solutions. So we're going to look at part of the warehouse doing robotics, part of it doing voice.
And in this case, they've done a nice job of leveraging certain technology and certain solutions for areas of their business for the outcomes they're looking to achieve.
Right.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm really kind of excited about
right
this.
Tool, right job.
Here I am with Keith Price, who's the CIO, COO of Concordance Healthcare Solutions. Let's start with robotics for just a minute. So the AMRs from Locus that you're using, help us understand that discovery and what got you looking there.
I started investigating robotics 2021, 2022, somewhere in there. We settled on Locus because it was a good fit for us. We tried to pattern it after what we did on voice so that we use the same end user interface. It controls and sends out the data to both sides. So both sides can pick whether we put those orders together, merge them, or whether they're completely separate. The other thing we were trying to get accomplished was to reduce the stress on our employees. So what we saw with voice and with picking throughout the day is they're pulling around this cart all day long, and by the end of the day, the productivity starts to go down because they're getting tired, especially if they had like a pharmacy order that had a lot of solution, where a lot of heavy weight on that cart. And that's one thing that the bots from Locus do for us. They're doing all the travel, and so the employee is not as tired at the end of the day. Plus, it brings a picture to the employee as well as the ability to scan. So our accuracy went up even better than it was before.
So before Locus, this is what we use to pick our orders. We'd use the voice pick system. A person would get an entire order, and they're taking anywhere from 5 to 20 totes that would be loaded down, and they're pushing this thing all day long. So productivity, you'd see it really high in the morning. By lunchtime, it's starting to fall off. By the end of the day, they're down in 20 lines an hour because it gets tiring pulling this thing around. With Locus, you're only pulling one line of the order. So the person just walks up to the bot, finishes the pick, the bot goes on, they're just walking over to the next pick. They're not pushing loads. We're not getting the injuries we used to get with the back because, one person offloading 30, 40 cases at 50 pounds a piece, they're just doing 2. Yeah. So that really helped with productivity. We went from about 46 lines an hour, we're up at 71 to 81 lines an hour.
Pretty good increase.
Yeah.
That's quite a leap from a push cart to a automated robot.
Yep, it sure is, yeah, it really helped us out.
Now we're here with Amy Eborg, and she's new here. She's only been here for 25 years, and she's worked in really every part of this warehouse. So Amy, we're excited to talk to you about the various different picking technologies you've worked with.
The biggest advantage I love about the robots is I do not have to push a cart. You have stacks of totes this high on a pallet. Some of those totes have cases of water in them and they're heavy.
Yeah.
So imagine 4 totes with water and the weight's just added on. Now you're pushing and all that. Yeah. The robots just took all that away. And 2, it made you movable. You just weren't stuck with one order. You were doing multiple orders, doing multiple things.
Keeps things interesting, novel, like just kind of not knowing where you're going to go next.
And so this workflow we've seen, so the robots have shown up here with it. So somebody's picked 2 of these bins. Yes. Sometimes there's 1 bin, sometimes there's 2, whatever.
Correct.
They picked that here, then you're here to take that on. So kind of walk us through that process. What are you doing? Do you interact with the screen? How does that work?
Yes, I interact with the screen. So when the robot comes up, it will show me that there is 2 totes on there, or 2 locations to be picked. to put product in. And then from there, I will take the product off. I will press the OK button, which then allows it to move forward to the induct area. And over here, 2 labels will be printed off for that, or how many ever cases is on there as well. And then I label them and put them on the proper tote or proper skid.
Generally speaking, what would you say to someone who's considering robotics? You know, what kind of, and just kind of parting shots, lasting advice, anything that you might say to them?
Yeah, do your homework, right? So do your ROI, figure out if it's the right solution for you, and you can make your environment better for your employees is one, as well as depending on what your accuracy rate is, it might be a huge difference, right? For us, it was incrementally better, but we were already at a very high rate. And just figure out how the implementation goes. Know your business, figure out how you're going to implement them, and spend some time on the design side, because there's a lot of things that can be set up within Locus, and which those configuration changes the way it operates, right? So learning what those are and how to turn on the right things can make your operation better.
We started out with a question, or really just kind of seeking answers around what are the kinds of things, if you're considering robotics in your facility, and really particularly AMRs, what are the kind of things you going to be considering in terms of your operation and whether it's a fit and all these things? Hopefully we at least partially answered that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about is it the right fit, you know, for the product mix, but also can your warehouse take it? Is the infrastructure what you might need to think about from an IT leadership and an individual worker.
Yeah, and remember, we don't set out for these things to be definitive, but if you have questions or if you have things maybe, oh, you wish we'd asked this or asked that, Keith has made himself available. We can certainly go back to him and talk to him about some things. I mean, these guys really were great. They run a great operation. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you find some value out of it, and hopefully these field notes are interesting to you. And if you have ideas or requests for other things, either solutions or technologies or places you'd like us to go talk to, let us know, and we'll be happy to check that out and take a look at it. So Dan, thank you. For Dan Paul, Alex Reneman, this is another Field Notes. Hopefully some value to you, and get out there and get it done, and we'll talk to you next time.